Hello everyone, welcome back again. Psychological Theatre. Today, the world is still going through uncertain times. Last week, we touched on the topic of power, and I hope you benefited from it and you were able to see the danger of power. And if you did see the danger of power, if you can feel the danger of power, then you might negate it from your life, considering it's a dangerous thing, just like you negate a poison from your life in general. So, from last to last week's somewhat connected to politics topic, we come back to meditation this week, and we start to touch and explore the feeling of being an actor of the actions. In general, we all feel that all actions are performed by us during our life. As I pick up a cup, even the language is designed in that way, which is an evidence of how we feel about the action. And it clearly shows our intense feeling, our intense belief. I'm using the word belief, but for most people it's not a belief. Our intense belief that we are doing the action of our everyday life or whatever we do. Now, what is inherent in that statement? Let's try to expose it a little bit. Maybe because we don't see, we don't observe that statement carefully, because it's a very common statement for us. We use it every day during our life. So the biggest assumption in that statement is the frame of reference from which that statement has been put. The frame of reference from which that statement has been put is the frame of the ego, the frame of you existing in a world, the frame of you being centered inside of you, inside of this body, and then observing this world from the frame of reference of you defining yourself as the body, as this body, you defining it. And then any action that is done by the body, the ego claims that it has been done by it. And if you have followed us till now, if there is someone out of 106 followers that exist on the channel who has listened to the channel all the way till now, then you would be able to see that the ego is not different from the body. Okay? We've discussed it quite a lot. Maybe there was a video as well for it. Because the ego represents the physical body in a more subtle way. Okay? The ego is to put it in a very simple way, I would say it's a psychological movement. But it doesn't really convey something, I guess, because I'm just naming it. So the ego is the movement of the cells of the body. just like every other cell in the body is moving. In the same way, the ego is also the movement of the body, but it is happening in the brain cells. Okay? As the memory flows in your brain, as the neurons are fired, which are related to memory, and then that memory is flowing from one section to the other, whether for coordination, whether for speech, whether for anything, that very movement of memory gives rise to ego. Okay? And we have discussed it as well in quite a lot of detail before, the evidences of that, because the ego never functions outside of the field of the known. The ego is always functioning in the field of what it already knows. So, the ego claims the actions of the body as its own actions. I can rephrase it in another way, that the body claims the actions that the body has performed as its own actions. When I use the second statement, I'm removing the gap between the ego and the body. Okay? In a lot of literature, that gap is maintained. They say there's the body and it's been hijacked by the ego or whatever. But inherently, if the body falls apart, the ego falls apart. There's no distinction between them. The ego is just the right way would be the subtle representation of the body. Okay, it's a finer representation. This representation is very stiff. You can touch it, you can visibly see it. The ego is the representation of the body, which is not visible to the other person, which is not as hard as this. It's a more subtle movement that the brain is aware of. Okay? Now, this is where the beauty happens, that the fingers are not aware of themselves. The brain is aware of the fingers. Okay? So any other body part or any other form of matter, at least that we know of course the universe is immense and there might be other examples, but as far as human knowledge, only the matter of the brain is capable of sensing its own movement. The matter of the finger or the matter in this box is not sensing its own movement. Okay? It has a basic sense of defense that every other kind of matter has, and that defense is, to every action there is equal and opposite reaction. That is the Newtonian third law for action-reaction pairs. So that is one defense that all matter exhibit. If you hit matter, matter defends itself by opposing with the equal force. Okay? So with this statement, I'm giving a feeling that matter is alive as well, but we will not enter into that at the moment. Okay? So the action performed by the body is claimed by the body then. Okay? The moment I remove the distinction between the ego and the body, I can phrase the sentence in this way, that the action done by the body is also claimed by the body. And if I keep that distinction of body and the ego, then you can say that the actions done by the body are claimed by the ego. You can say it in that way. Now, the reason it claims those actions as its own action is related directly to how it defines what itself is. Okay? How the body or the ego defines itself, that what I am, that directly correlates to what it calls its own action. In general, it uh, connects itself to the physical body, which has its limit of the skin, and to the mind, which is running in the brain. So the ego is claiming both those entities as itself. The ego says, this is me, the mind, and the ego says, this is the body. And that body is also mine. Now, the funny thing is, the ego doesn't say the body is me. If you've observed how the language is formed, we usually say, my finger is hurt. We don't say, I'm hurt. Okay? We say, I'm hurt as well, but the usual connotation is that I own the body or I claim the body. So the ego defines itself first. And now every time I'm using ego, you can also consider it as the body. I'm using them together as one. The ego defines itself first, and then from that definition, it claims actions, that this action is mine, this action is not mine. Okay? And that is solely based on how the ego is defined. Okay? How the ego defines that up to what limit I exist and after what I do not exist. Okay? Now, in some sense, it makes sense and it is helpful as well. The action is connected to the body that has performed that action, to simply put it. Now, when it is done, then the body can claim that that action was performed by that body. And due to that, the body then claims reward or punishment, both sides. So the whole judiciary system runs on that belief that because this person has done this theft, then that theft was this person's action, and hence this person should be fined or put on prison according to whatever the law is. So in that sense, in that practical sense, this does make sense, that whatever action is performed by a certain body must be associated with that body, and hence that body can now claim that this is my action. That's simple as that. Up to that level, it's totally fine. We are not arguing it at that level. And the reason I'm clarifying this level is because this is the level of the ego, the level from which we are talking, the frame of reference of the ego. For ego, it has defined itself, and everything that it does is its action. But in meditation, we are pushing that point a little further. We are saying, that's very well. This is from the point of view of the ego. But there are so many other evidences that are provided in the physical universe, in the world around us, which also suggests something opposite to that. A whole huge galaxy moves without anyone moving it. The sun makes a circle around the galaxy, center of the galaxy, without anyone making it run. The planets have been spinning around the sun for approximately 4.5 billion years without anyone making them run around the sun. So there are so many evidences in the physical universe where we see that actor is not really required and action could happen by itself. And when we say by itself, we just mean that the universe runs on a set of laws, and then those laws are enough to make all this movement. You do not need further actors inside of the universe to claim or to say this was done by me, this was not done by me. So remember the fact that we have accepted that at some practical level, the ego's point of view is useful in everyday life. But when we see these facts, that things are actually running on their own, the winds are bringing rain, the clouds are getting formed, everything is just doing by itself. Everything has a rule, everything has a law that it follows, and it just moves on. And even in the living world, we don't see the claim of action that much. Okay, there is still a certain sense of claim of action that when a lion is hunting a deer or something, some other animal that it eats, it prefers, it does kind of shows that this is my hunt and no one else is going to get a share out of it. So you could say that in that way the lion is showing that I was the one who acted on it. But that claim is very short and very small. And even in those claims, the animals accept the fact that any moment that claim could be broken, that maybe 5 other hungry leopards come and the lion cannot defend its hunt, then it has to lose it. Simple as that. So it's only in the human mind where the claim of the action is so strong that this is my action, and the claim is really remembered for a really long time. Maybe for your whole life you remember sometimes that yes, that was my action. But the universe is constantly giving us the signals, the evidences that things are running on their own just by themselves. Just there are some basic laws, and after those basic laws, everything is just running by just running. So then the question arises. That's where meditation is questioning this argument of the ego that, hey ego, you are saying you are the doer, you are doing these actions. But when I look around, I see so much of action happening. Okay, a beautiful sunset exists in front of my eyes, and yet no one created that sunset. It just happened because of some random arrangement of events which we cannot control. And again, there are some basic laws, and after that all those random events just come together, and the result is a beautiful sunset in front of me. So if those kind of things can happen, is it also possible that the same laws which are running the planets, the skies, the heavens, are also enough to run this body? Is the ego a fundamental requirement, or is it something imposed? If the body cannot exist without the ego, if the body cannot survive without the ego, or can the body live without the ego? Just like the stars, the sun, the moon, the planet, and everything else is living without an ego. Okay? They do have the ego at the sense of matter has ego. Okay? But we are not calling that ego at the moment. We are calling the ego that gets developed when matter gets evolved into sophisticated matter. Let's use that word. The brain is matter, but it's a little bit sophisticated as compared to a stone on the ground. It is capable of calculations, it's capable of many things. So, the ego which gets formed in the brain, does the brain really need that? Does the body really need the ego? Or can the body simply run without the ego, just like the stars, the moon, the animals, and everyone is running without with lower ego? Because to say without ego is a strong statement. So that's the whole central question. That are you really doing it, or you think you are doing it? So all these past 20 minutes that I have spoken was just to land on this statement, because the statement straight away could feel harsh. Are you doing it, or is it just happening by itself? And that's where the concept of duality comes in. This is where Buddhism shines. This is where Krishnamurti shines. After you come to this point, now they will slaughter your head off. They slaughter the head of the ego. Now Buddha will come and say, exactly. So if you have come to this question, then you cannot deny the fact that even the ego is bound by the rule of duality. If no one calls your name, would you still turn? Someone calls your name, you turn. And after that you claim that, hey, I chose to decide to turn. It was my action to turn. But then Buddha comes to you and says, no, but would you have turned if no one had called you? Okay, would you go to the food if you're not hungry? Would you, go to the water if you're not thirsty? So, action is dualistic. It's bound in action-reaction pairs. Okay? This is what the law is that Buddha is saying. Buddha calls it dependent co-origination. To exist, both of them are dependent on each other at the same time. If I remove this, this one also gets lost. If I remove this, this one also gets lost. So they both need each other to exist. So in the same way, if you will observe your whole day, you would see that all your action is based on stimulus. Something stimulates you, something stimulates your mind, your brain, and according to the stimulus, the brain starts to act. And then you ask, if there was no stimulus, if no one would have called my name, if I would not feel thirsty, if I would not feel pain, if I would not feel loneliness, if I would not feel hungry, if I would not feel all the things that I'm feeling, would I still act? Would you still act even? That's the central question. And if you wouldn't act in that situation, then you cannot claim that you are acting, because then You are merely replying to a stimulus. And the stimulus could be inside of you. You are sitting on a chair and you thought of a beautiful woman and you went to the pub to meet some ladies. That action and the stimulus was internal, mental stimulus, and that made the action. So you can say it was my decision to go, it was my action that I did it. But actually, all action that you do is based on stimulus. If you would make a list since morning to evening, you will be really absolutely shocked that you would not find a single action which was not based on some kind of stimulus. Whether it's the stimulus of a deadline, or whether it's someone calling you, whether it's some promise you made, whether it's your bodily requirement, whatever. You always find a cause. When I say stimulus, I'm saying something that starts your action, a cause. It's not that when you're not disturbed, totally not disturbed, then you do not act. Then you're totally satisfied to be in that state of non-action. I do not know if you have ever been in that state where your stomach is full, you're not thirsty, you are not full of any other kind of deadlines and everything. You're just relaxing, let's say. That's the best word to say it. You're just relaxing and you don't need anything. Okay? And there is silence, so no stimulus through the ear. Your eyes are closed, so no stimulus through your eyes. And then you see that there is absolutely no reason to act for you. The action only comes when the duality comes in. When someone suddenly calls your name, okay, then you start to act. Or you start to feel thirsty, you start to feel like I should go to take a leak, have a piss, or something else. All those dualistic points are connected, which make the action happen. So, the ego doesn't have a choice after the stimulus happens. The ego just acts after the stimulus happens, and even then it claims that the action was done by it. Okay? A thief sees a nice wallet full of money and it tries to steal it. Okay? Now, the thief didn't have a choice to not steal it, because the thief, being a thief, the visual stimulus of the nice wallet naturally makes the thief act in that way. Okay? The way to stop the thief is for the thief to stop for the thief that he or she stops becoming a thief. And then the wallet comes in front of you, it has no effect on you. Then you break that duality there. But as long as he was the thief, money or gold or some kind of stuff attracts the thief and action happens, but he thinks he's doing it. Okay? Now, this really gives us a very beautiful point here. If you are something like a thief, whatever you call yourself, I'm this citizen of this country, I'm this religion, I'm this whatever, just definitions about yourself, whatever you have, those definitions will make you act. You will become the slave of those definitions, and anyone provides stimulus to that definition would make you act. And you would think you did the action, actually. So, all action is bound by the law of duality. Action, reaction, action, reaction, action, reaction, action, reaction. So when everything is bound by the law of duality, what's the need to claim that you did it? That's why in the beginning I said, at practical sense, it makes logical. Like you make a report and you can write your name. I made the report. If we say it from the meditation's point of view, you would say, no, but I didn't do anything. It was the stimulus. My boss told me to make the report, so I made the report. So it wasn't like I did it. If the boss wouldn't have asked it, I would have done something else. I would have made some other report or something else. So in that practical sense, the perception of the ego has some use, for sure. You can organize things in that way, but it should not be taken as reality, as absolute reality. In essence, every action is bound by duality's law, codependent origination at the same time. So you have, if that understanding is inside of you, and you say I did it, it's fine, because then it doesn't corrupt you from inside. Then you know you are claiming the action, but inside of you, you know that no action can be claimed. It's just happening. So your claim doesn't have a strength to it. If someone says something about that action or whatever, you are not affected by it, because you see that yes, I had to claim it because that's how society is running, that's how things are organized, and it's important. But it doesn't reach my center, because I know that I cannot own any action, because all action is bound by the law of duality, just like law of gravity or electrostatics or whatever. So if you will observe it every day, since morning to evening, from morning to evening, you would see that it all just happens. You will wake up and the stimulus around you will start to make you act. You will wake up and your tummy will say, go to the toilet, please. You will finish the toilet. The clock would say, get ready, it's time to go to the office. Okay? You go to the shower, the shampoo and soap in front of you will say, hey, you can use me, and you will smell nicer or whatever. You will clean yourself. Then you go to your car, and then the car would say, press this and I will go forward, and press that and I will go backwards, and you will follow that. And then you reach the office. The moment you reach the office, your co-workers will start to stimulate you that, okay, hey, hi, how was your day? And then you respond to that. This person asks something, you respond to that. So you think you are acting all those actions, but actually you are just reacting to what has been imposed on you, what has been stimulated towards you. Okay? And if all action I do during the day is reaction, then is there some action which is not a reaction? That comes a very heavy question. I wouldn't go there at the moment. But yeah, if you would observe yourself, you would see your whole day is just that chain of duality. There will be one who will be directing towards you, and then you reply to that. Towards you, you reply. Towards you, reply. It comes to the mind, and then the mind sends it back. It comes to the mind, and the mind sends it back. Just like a swing. The swing goes to that way and to this way. Okay? So if you can observe it in your whole day, and it's happening with literally every action of your life. It's not like you have to work really hard for it to observe it. It's in front of you. Then this sense of ownership of action will fade away from you. Observe it for a day, for a week. By the end of the month, your ownership of the action will start to fade away. You would feel it actually. Then actions will not affect you. Actions are just requirements of the moment. At this moment, I can see I have to do this, I do this. There's nothing like my action, so it should be nice, speciality, or why? How could you say that about my action? Now I'm hurt. None of that. It's just action. At practical level, I put my name on that action. In general, at a deeper level, I know all action is just happening. As the wind is blowing, as the stars are blowing, as the sun is moving, so are you. Okay? Acharya Prashant also says it in his talks. Just as the wind blows and the grass grows, in the same way is your life. And you can easily observe it. It's so easy to observe it. Right? It is so easy to observe it that the mind has to create ways to divert itself from it. It is so blatantly evident in front of you that you are not the actor, that the mind has to keep creating illusions inside of it so that it does not see the fact that it's all just happening. Okay? It's not complicated, so don't get scared from it. I hope there is some clarity from today's talk, and as usual, if there are some questions, please send them to me and we can take them in the next videos. But yeah, that's all for this week. Have a nice one.